These are not some basic Excel formulas. These formulas can make you an Excel pro in your office. Now think about this. You have a data and you have a list and you want to sort this data based on this list. How would you do that? Which formula you will use? And these kind of formulas I have in this video for you. But you need to do one thing. You need to watch the video and share which formula you like the most. So let's start. All right, so now in the first formula, we're going to sort our data based on a custom sort order. So this is my custom sort order where I want USA first, and then I want India, and then I want Australia, and then UK. Now, if I use the sort function here, let's say if I use the sort function here, you can see I don't have any option here to specify the custom sort order. Now, if I move to this function that is sort by, I still don't have any option to specify a custom sort order. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a function, a separate function along with sort by to use this custom sort order. So the formula is pretty simple. I'll select this array in the first argument, that is the array argument in the sort by function, and in the by array one argument, I'm going to use this function that is xmatch. Now in the xmatch, I need to specify two arguments here. One is lookup value and one is lookup array. So for the lookup value, I'm going to say this country column, and for the lookup array, I'm going to specify this custom sort order, which is again the name of the countries that I have. And I'm going to close the xmatch. I'm going to close the sort by and hit enter. And here you can see the sort order is USA, and then I have India, and then I have Australia, and then UK. And if I change something from here, let's say if I specify India here, and here I say USA. So now I have India here, and then USA, and then Australia, and UK. So here's how you can use a custom sort order to sort your data using a formula. I'm sure you use XLOOKUP a lot, but there's one big problem with XLOOKUP. So if I just use XLOOKUP here, and this is the customer name that I want to look up for, and in the lookup array, if I specify the customer column, and then in the return array, if I specify the invoice number and close the function, I get the invoice number, but that is the only invoice number that I get. There are 5 invoice numbers I have in this data for that particular customer. And if I just edit this function here and go to the source mode, either I can get the first invoice number or I can get the last invoice number. But if I want to have all the invoice numbers, I cannot do that with the XLOOKUP. So what I'll do, I'll use a different function that is the filter function. I'm going to say filter, and I'm going to specify this invoice column as my array. And then I'm going to say in the include, select the customer column and specify a condition that is equals to this customer name from here. And for if empty, if there is no invoice number, I'm going to say no invoice number found. Or you can use any custom message here. And now the moment I hit enter, you can see I get all the invoice numbers here for this particular customer. And if I just change the customer name, I get invoice number for Emma, and for Oliva, I get all the invoice numbers. So that's how you can get all the matching values for a particular value, lookup value, using filter function instead of using XLOOKUP. And if you want to have the better clarity how this filter function works when you want to have lookup values using filter function, there is a specific video I have that you can check out. Now think about, you want to extract data from the main data based on month's name. You want to extract data for a specific month, and for this we're going to use a formula that is using the filter function. So I'll enter the filter function here, and in the array argument, that's the first argument, I'm going to specify the entire data that I have. Now in the include argument, I'm going to use one more function to create a condition here. So I'll use this function that is text, and I'm going to select the entire date column here, and in the format, I have the second argument that is format text. I'm going to say MMM. So that is for the format of the month. So text function will extract month name from all the dates that I have in the invoice date column using the MMM format. I'll say close my function, and here is the condition to test this entire column with this value in this cell J2. And for the if empty, I'm going to say no data found. Close the function and hit enter. And here you can see, let me just change the format of the date. I have data for February here, the entire data for the February. Let me just change the width of the columns. And now the moment I change the month name from here, let's say if I move to January, I get data for January here. And if I say December, I get data for December. And here you can see I have this small data here where I have days and then I have the name of the crew assigned for that particular day. But there is one big problem with this data. The problem is I have a few names twice in the same day. You can see here this name Benny here, and then I have the name Benny Bean. In the same way, I have this name Sandra, and the name Sandra is again here. So what I want here, I want to remove these duplicate names from the single cell for a particular day. So I'll use this function text split, select the main cell where I have all the names, and I'm going to use comma and space for split and hit enter. Now I have all the names in multiple cells. Now I will wrap this function, the text split function, with the unique function that allows me to remove the duplicate names. In the array, I have values from the text split, and in the by call, I'm going to say return unique columns. I'm going to close the function, hit enter. Now you can see I don't have this word Benny twice in my result. I have Benny here, but I don't have Benny at the end. So the duplicate names are now removed. So I'll get this entire array of names in a single cell. So I'm going to use the function text join. Let me just specify the delimiter first. That is comma and space. And for ignore empty, I'm going to say okay, true. And for text, I already have this array that I'm getting in return from unique after removing duplicate names. So I'll just close my function, hit enter, and here I have my all the names without duplicate names. So I'll say, let me just drop this formula, copy it from here, paste it here, and all the duplicate names are now removed from every single cell. If you look at this data here, I have 5 names in the each cell, and I want to sort these names within the cell. So for this, I'm going to use this function called text split, and I'm going to say this is my text, and then the column delimiter is a comma and a space. Close the function, hit enter, and here I have the 5 names. Let me just auto-fit these names. And now the next thing is, because I want to sort these names, I'm going to use the function called sort. And in the sort function, I have text split in the array argument, and in the sort index, I'm going to say 1 sort order ascending, and for by column, I'm going to say sort by column. So that's the most important argument in this formula. So I'll close this sort here, and here my names are sorted now. The next thing is to get all these names into a single value, just like we have in the original data. So I'll use the function called text join, and in the delimiter, I'm going to say comma and space, true for ignore empty, and text one is already from the sort and text split functions. Close the text join, and here I have all the names sorted and joined in a single cell. So let me just drag this formula down, and let me just copy it from here, paste it here, and my names are now sorted within the cell. Now we are starting with the second part of this video where we are going to analyze our data using formulas. So I'll start with getting the top 10 customers and the bottom 10 customers. So for this, I'm going to use a function that is called sort, and this allows me to sort my data using a specific order. So I'm going to specify this array here, that's my data, and in the sort index, that's the second argument in my sort function, I'm going to say 3. That means the third column here, amount column, that I'm going to use to sort my data. And after that, in the sorting order, the sort order argument, I'm going to say descending, close the function and hit enter, and it gives me this data, same data, but the sorting order now is highest to lowest. Now to get the top 10 customer, I need to get the top 10 rows from here, because these are the top 10 customers that I want. So what I'll do, I'll wrap this sort function with a function that says, that is take function. In the take function, for the array, I already have array from the sort function, and in the rows, I'm going to specify 10. That means the top 10 rows I want to extract. And when I hit enter, I get top 10 customers, which are the top 10 rows in my data, and these are the top 10 customers from my data. And if I want to have, let's say, 5 customers, top 5 customers, I'm going to say 5 and hit enter, and here I have top 5 customers. And in the same way, I can get the bottom 10 customers. I'll just use the same formula. And here is the value that I need to change. So instead of using the descending order for sorting, that is highest to lowest, I'm going to say ascending, that means lowest to highest. And when I hit enter, I get the bottom 10 customers. And in the same way, I can change the value from here if I want bottom 5 customers. And here I have the bottom 5 customers. Let me just come back to bottom 10. And here I have my bottom 10 customers. Now, this is one of my favorite formula here. And the idea is to extract data for last n days. Let's say for last 7 days or last 30 days or even last 15 days. So we'll start with this function that is the filter function. And this is again one of my favorite functions. And in the filter function, I'm going to specify the array. The array is the original data, the source data that I have. And here I'm going to show you an advanced keyboard shortcut. So if you want to come back to the active cell where you are entering your formula, you just need to press the keyboard shortcut Control, Shift and equals. It will take you back to the cell where you're entering your formula. So let's move ahead. And in the include argument, I'm going to specify two conditions here. The first is to select this column here. Let me just come back. And with this column, I'm going to say greater than and equals to today's date minus 6. So if I want to extract data for last 7 days, I'm going to use 6 here because I'm also considering today's date as well. So if I have today's date and 6 days before it, that means total 7 days. So I'm going to connect this number with this cell after writing this formula. And here's the first condition. And the second condition is, let me just enter this asterisk sign to create AND logic here. That means the condition will be this last 7 days and today's date. So let me just copy it from here again. And here I'm going to say equals today, close the include argument, move to if empty, and I'm going to say here no data found. There is no data for that particular day. So this will be the message I will get in return. So let me just hit enter, and you can see I have data for last 7 days. And let me connect this number with this cell. So what I'll do, I'll add one more bracket here, two brackets, closing and ending. And here I'm going to say this minus 1. And this way I will get 6 in return. And this is the data for last 7 days. And now if I just change the number from here, let's say 15 days, now I get data for last 15 days. And if I say 30 days, I get data for last 30 days. So this way you can extract data for last n days using a formula that is based on the filter function. Now, in this example, I'm going to calculate the product mix of all the products, how much a product has contributed in the total sales. So for this, I'm going to use this function called group by, and in the group by for the rows fields, I'm going to go with the product name, and then I'm going to go with quantity for the values. And in the function argument, I'm going to say % off. And then I'll move to the sort order argument. And here I'm going to say -2 to use the second column in descending order to sort the data. So I'll close the function, hit enter, and here I have the product mix of all the products. Like external SSD contributed 17%, and in the same way, rest of the products I have here. And this is the formula that I have shared last year in my top 30 Excel tips. So here I have a list of people who were invited for a meeting, and this is a list of people who attended the meeting. Now my idea here is to get the name of the people who have not attended the meeting. So for this, I'm going to use a simple but powerful formula. So I'm going to say filter function, and in the array, I'm going to select the list of invited people, and in the include argument of the filter, I'm going to use two different functions. So I'll start with not, and within the not, I'm going to say count if, and in the count if further, I have two arguments. So I'll go with the first, the range. I'm going to select the list of attended people, and then I'm going to say again the list of invited people. Now I'll come back, close the count if, close the not function, close the not function, close the filter function, and hit enter. And here I have a list of people who have not attended the meeting. And this is one of my favorite Excel formulas where we're going to count how many people have achieved the target and how many people have not achieved the target. And mind you, for this, we are not going to use any helper column, a simple but powerful formula. So I'll start with the sum product function. And in the sum product function, first of all, I'm going to say people who have achieved the target, the entire target column. And then I'm going to say greater than, equals to, and then select the achievement column. We'll come back and I'll close the function. But before that, before I hit enter, I need to do one more thing. I'll add one more, parenthesis here. I'll wrap it in the parenthesis. And before that parenthesis, I'm going to add the most important part of this formula, and that is double minus sign. The moment I hit enter, I get 19. That means the 19 people in this data, that means the 19 people from this data have achieved their target, or they have overachieved their target. Now I'll copy this formula from here again, paste it here. And the only thing that I need to change here is this sign, lower than, equals to, or maybe this time I don't need the equals to because we have already considered equals to in the achieved argument, in the achieved section, in the achieved count, and hit enter. And here we have total 11 people who have not achieved targets. So the total is 30. And if I discount the total people here, I have the count of 30. That means the 19 people have achieved the target and 11 people have not achieved their target. So, and here sum product is calculating it in a very smart way. When I use this condition here, I'll just press F9. I get this entire array of false and true. False is where the target is not achieved, and true is where the target is achieved. And when I use double minus sign, it converts this array of false and true, or true or false, into 0 and 1. 0 for false and 1 for true. And then sum product gives me the sum of the values where I have 1, and that is the count of people who have achieved their target. And the same thing goes with the not achieved. It's completely opposite. We have 1 for people who have not achieved and 0 for people who have achieved. And that's the count of people who have not achieved their target. Hey, thanks for watching this video, and make sure to subscribe and check out this video, and I'll see you next week.